Hey everyone, welcome to Primary Market Chatter brought to you by Sunday Investing. This is the December 5th week episode and essentially the last episode of this year. After this, we'll meet in 2025 and it also is the 6 month edition. Like we are completing 6 months with this. We started in July first week and this is the December last week. So good big achievement today. But yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining and giving us all the love. What we'll do is we'll keep this episode very short because I understand all of everyone is almost in a holidays festive mood and the issues are also not such which would require a lot of time. But having said that, just want to highlight a couple of things before we get started. A, we are not SEBI registered research analysts. So if you are listening to these IPO sessions, definitely do your own due diligence. आप अपने due diligence के साथ उसके basis पे act करें and only take this as a supplement. This cannot be like our opinion cannot be taken as a qualified opinion as we are not SEBI registered research analysts. Second, if you miss any of these episodes, हम ये episodes YouTube पे भी upload करते हैं. Definitely go ahead and follow us on YouTube. The link to our channel Sunday Investing is at the top. तो आप Sunday Investing page को जाके follow कर सकते हैं और वहाँ पे इन episodes को at your own length, at your own pace, IPOs को जो specific IPOs है उनके बारे में उनको सुन सकते हैं. Having said that, let me just set up the order for today. So what we'll do is that we'll start with a couple of SMEs, then do one main board which is coming, which is SME size only, honestly, and then we do two more SMEs. And almost all of them are like none of them I found super interesting in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, we'll start with Citichem, which Yash has promised we'll cover in max 2 minutes. Then we'll move to Anya Polymer. Then we'll go to IndoFarm. That's where I'm assuming we'll be spending quite some time on. Then Technichem and Leo Dry Fruits. So that's the order for the day. In the meanwhile, if you have any questions, definitely feel free to post your questions in the chat box as well. We'll definitely be taking questions as well. We might do a few things with respect to Ventive listing. But again, our opinion doesn't change. Like we already covered Ventive in quite some detail. It doesn't change in 2-3 days. And right now we also have some shares. So our view is also biased because we have some position in Ventive. But having said that, maybe towards the end we'll do something with respect to what do we feel with respect to Ventive. At least from my side, nothing has changed compared to what it was earlier. But I understand the sentiment. A lot of people wanted to know more, so we'll probably talk about it as well towards the end. But with that, let's move towards the first SME IPO, which we'll be talking about, which is Citichem. The company is engaged in buying and supplying organic and inorganic chemicals, bulk drugs, and food chemicals to the pharmaceutical industry. In terms of the IPO details, the company is bringing in an IPO of 12.6 crore, all of which is a fresh issue. It's a very tiny company, market cap of like 47.5 crores. So very, very small issue. It's a fixed price issue, i.e. there are no anchors in it. All of it will be divided between retail as well as the HNI/QIB quota. In terms of the company details, the FY24 financials, company did 20 crores in revenue. They did 20 crores in revenue and 1.1 crores का इनने पैड किया था. And the LM is Horizon. So with that, maybe Yash, do you want to go ahead and talk about Citichem?
Hello, Tanmay, Manish, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so Citichem is established in 1992 and headquartered in Mumbai, Maharashtra. The company basically trades and supplies organic, inorganic chemicals, bulk drugs, food chemicals, primarily catering to pharmaceuticals, and offers specialty chemicals for industries such as aluminum, steel, textile, and dairy. Uh, the company supplies food preservatives and chemical under its own brand, and then these products are converted into sales by their distribution team. Then uske baad, the team ensures that the delivery is timely delivered, and this is how the operations are managed from its Mumbai office. So basically the company has three verticals: specialty chemicals, intermediates and APIs, जिसमें identifying, sourcing and supply किया जाता है international clients, pharmaceuticals, paint and food industry को. Then there is food chemicals, जिसमें repackaging, retail distribution and marketing करा जाता है food chemicals. Then the third one is laboratory chemical, जिसमें जितने भी अलग अलग टाइप के laboratory chemicals होते हैं उसका ट्रेडिंग करता है कंपनी. सो ओवरऑल कंपनी का यही काम है. इफ आई टॉक अबाउट कि कंपनी में कुछ पॉजिटिव है, विच विल बी द प्रमोटर का एक्सपीरियंस. ऑलमोस्ट 2 डेकेड्स का एक्सपीरियंस है कंपनी को. बट वीकनेस बहुत ज्यादा है कि जिस मार्केट में जिस इंडस्ट्री में ये लोग काम कर रहे हैं, प्लस जो इनका काम है, दैट इज वेरी हाईली फ्रेगमेंटेड मार्केट. बहुत ज्यादा कंपटीशन होता है उसमें, प्राइस वॉर्स होती हैं, एंड जो भी इनका रेवेन्यू वगैरह होता है, दैट इज टोटली बेस्ड ऑन देयर वर्किंग कैपिटल रिक्वायरमेंट, क्योंकि वॉल्यूम बेस्ड बिजनेस है. जितना बड़ा मेरा वर्किंग कैपिटल साइकिल रहेगा, मैं उतने ज्यादा टाइम्स अपना कैपिटल रोटेट कर पाऊंगा एंड उतनी ज्यादा टर्नओवर को लेके आ पाऊंगा बिजनेस के अंदर. तो कैश कन्वर्जन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट मेट्रिक है इस बिजनेस के लिए. वन ऑफ द फ्यू थिंग्स जो सबसे बड़ा नेगेटिव है इज द वैल्यूएशन ऑफ द कंपनी. ऑलमोस्ट 60 टाइम्स के प्राइस टू अर्निंग्स पे आ रहा है कंपनी. वो भी तब जिस बिजनेस को एक्चुअल में ओनली 20x मैक्स पी मिलना चाहिए. रेवेन्यू कॉन्सेंट्रेशन सिंगल डिपेंडेंट क्लाइंट से बहुत ज्यादा है. ऑलमोस्ट सितंबर के हाफ ईयरली में 90-95% सिंगल कस्टमर से आ रहे हैं, एंड ऑलमोस्ट 100% इज कमिंग फ्रॉम टॉप 5 कस्टमर्स. सप्लाई डिपेंडेंसी भी बहुत ज्यादा है. ऑलमोस्ट 70% सारा जो भी सप्लाई आ रहा है इनको, वो सिंगल कस्टमर से आ रहा है. कंपनी का सबसे बड़ा जो नेगेटिव चीज है वो है कैश फ्लोज इनके, क्योंकि खाली ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हैं तो कैश पॉजिटिव होना चाहिए, बट कंपनी के कैश फ्लोज नेगेटिव है. जो मोटा मोटी सारा धंधा जो भी आ रहा है वो सारा महाराष्ट्र से आ रहा है, तो काफी लोकलाइज्ड बिजनेस है, एंड प्लस मार्केट कैप भी ज्यादा नहीं है, ओनली 47 करोड़ प्री इशू है. रिस्क फैक्टर बहुत बड़ा है, क्योंकि क्रिमिनल केसेस बहुत ज्यादा चल रहे हैं, क्रिमिनल एंड टैक्स लिटिगेशंस बहुत ज्यादा हैं. ऑलमोस्ट 195 करोड़ का लिटिगेशंस है. प्राइस टू अर्निंग्स अगेन बहुत ज्यादा है. तो मोटा मोटी द कंपनी इज अ हार्ड अवॉइड फॉर एवरीवन. कंपनी फंड रेज कर रही है ऑलमोस्ट 12 करोड़ का. उसमें से वो कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर करेगी एक्विजिशन ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी एंड परचेज ऑफ ट्रांसपोर्टेशन व्हीकल्स का, एंड जनरल कॉर्पोरेट पर्पसेस के लिए उसे वो चाहिए. प्रमोटर होल्डिंग इज फाइन ओनली. ज्यादा प्रमोटर ऑलमोस्ट 61% है पोस्ट इशू, तो विच इज फाइन. बट वही है कि मार्केट कैप बहुत छोटा है एंड ट्रेडिंग बिजनेस है. देन वन मोर वेरी नेगेटिव पॉइंट इज कि जो इनका मैं प्लांट देख रहा था कि लोकेशन क्या है, तो इन्होंने लीज पे ले रखी है लोकेशन, एंड विच इज ऑलमोस्ट 148 स्क्वायर फीट एंड 210 स्क्वायर फीट. तो मतलब इतनी सी जगह में पता नहीं कौन सी ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हैं ये मुझे समझ नहीं आया. दैट्स ऑल आई थिंक. और तो इसमें कुछ है नहीं. बैलेंस शीट काइट फक्ड अप लगी मुझे, क्योंकि बैलेंस शीट का जो कैश बैलेंस शीट में फंसा हुआ है, दैट इज बेसिकली इनटू इन्वेंटरीज एंड ट्रेड रिसीवेबल्स. 37 करोड़ इन्वेंटरीज में फंसा है एंड 30 करोड़ ट्रेड रिसीवेबल में फंसा है. आउट ऑफ द टोटल 68 करोड़ कंपनी के पास 16 लाख कैश है. प्रॉपर्टी प्लांट इक्विपमेंट में 9 करोड़ की इन्होंने प्रॉपर्टी दिखाई है. बट आई डिडंट गो एंड चेक इनटू डिटेल्स कि इन्होंने ये क्या क्या इसमें इंक्लूड करा हुआ है, क्योंकि आई डोंट थिंक जो उन्होंने 148 स्क्वायर फीट एंड 210 स्क्वायर फीट का इनका जो ऑफिस दिखाया है वो इतना महंगा उसका कॉस्ट होगा. सो मोर और लेस द कंपनी इज टोटल अवॉइड फॉर मी. वैल्यूएशन हाई है. थोड़ा बैलेंस शीट वगैरह में सब, मतलब बैलेंस शीट इज लाइक वेरी वेरी बैड बैलेंस शीट बोलूंगा मैं, क्योंकि काफी कैश स्टक है एंड वॉल्यूम बेस्ड बिजनेस होता है इनका. क्लाइंट्स के पास इनके बार्गेनिंग पावर बहुत ज्यादा होती है, क्योंकि एट द एंड तो ट्रेडिंग है, देयर इज नो मोड, तो किसी और से जाके ले सकते हैं. सो ओवरऑल दिस इज अवॉइड कंपनी फॉर मी.
Thanks, Yash. Can you hear me? If you can't, that's okay. I think we have already covered everything that was supposed to be covered with respect to the company. Hard avoid for me as well. It's a very small issue, तो I feel बहुत ज़्यादा subscribed भी होगा. but I would completely skip it as well. With that, we'll move forward and talk about the second company, which is Anya Polytech and Fertilizers. Just setting up the company, Anya Polytech is engaged in the manufacturing of high density polythene, i.e. HDP, and polypropylene bags, and it also does zinc sulfate fertilizers. Two very different segments. I didn't understand how they both of them came together, but maybe Rohit can help with respect to that. But yeah, just talking about the IPO details a bit, the company is bringing in an IPO size of 44.8 crores, all of which is a fresh issue. It's a book built issue, i.e. there will be anchors, and the market cap is 168 crores. Tomorrow is the last day to apply for this IPO. In terms of the financials, if I talk about the financials, the company did a revenue of 125 crores in FY24, and unka PAT tha around 10 crores. So the company is coming at like a FY24 valuation of 16 to 17. In terms of the LM is Beeline, who has a hit and miss kind of a record. Either has very good issues or its issues get stuck because of some uh, unfortunate reasons in BSC. But having said that, maybe I will move it forward to Rohit to talk about Anya Polytech and share his view.
Thanks, Manish. So Anya, so this is a 45 crore raise, so decent size, I would say. And the money is primarily for a mix of capex and working capital. So this company makes HDPE and polypropylene sacks, which actually initially was primarily for fertilizer packaging, and that's kind of how they got into this segment. I think 75% of their products were being sold to the fertilizer industry because of where they were located. So they were located around a bunch of these large fertilizer plants. And as they sold their bags there, they sort of had a captive group. They kind of understood the fertilizer segment and they felt there was a gap and they started making these micronutrient fertilizers as well. So in that, they primarily do zinc sulfate. So though they do have capability of some of the other micronutrients also, copper, and there are 2-3 others that are, I don't understand the technicals, but there are a bunch of them that they have the ability to make. Majority is the zinc sulfate, and they also make phosphate fertilizer. So there's something called single super phosphate, which is again a different product, another kind of fertilizer that provides phosphorus. And all of these ultimately are fairly vital fertilizers. I think in some parts of northern India, like they're zinc deficient, and the government has even set some guidelines that you need to do. These farms need to have like a 10 kg of zinc per acre. So those are certain, I'd say, fundamental reasons why this segment will continue to exist, I would say, for for many years. So if I just had to step back and just say there are broadly three things that they do and they intend to do. So one is this HDPE and PP bags, which is a fairly commodity product. Today they do these small sacks and they want to expand into jumbo bags. Today they do about a little less than half of their revenue comes from this bag segment. This is a segment where they operate at around 90% utilization. The second segment is this fertilizer segment, the zinc and SSP. They do about 55% of the revenue from the segment. And here they operate at, again, 50 odd percent in zinc and 15% utilization in that single sulfate, the superphosphate segment. The third segment is a biomass segment, which is a segment that they want to get into. Today they don't have it, but part of the proceeds is to about 9 crore of the proceeds is to set up capex to get into this biomass segment. And this is a segment we saw a company in recently called Shubhshri Biofuels, which has exploded post listing, even though they largely just trade in biofuels. But the market has taken it to the stratosphere. Today in the first segment is HDP, they operate at a 90% capacity, and I couldn't get an exact sense of how much they will increase capacity to. So they've said they're going to focus more on the jumbo bags with a certain volume, I think 15 lakh per annum, whereas they currently can do 3 crore bags per annum in the smaller bag segment. So that direct extrapolation, I'm not sure, but I would imagine that they can actually double or maybe even triple their revenue once they get full capacity in HDP. In the fertilizer segment, they're actually doubling the capacity for that SSP segment where they only have 15% utilization. So I don't understand what they're doing, why they're going for something like that, such low utilization, why they're doubling it. And then this biomass segment, they're getting to about 50 MTPD, which is 50 metric tons per day. Just to give a sense, Shubhshri has about 2.5 to 3x that capacity. So it's not going to be very big. And in the first year, biomass pellets will probably do 10, 12 crore in revenue only. So that will take some time for, really revenue to add up. So it's fairly complex business with three very different segments. So I don't know. It doesn't all sort of uniformly, sort of set for me as a business. Another thing is today this business has a very high dependence. There are just two customers who contribute 70% of their business. These are basically some cooperatives through which they sell their bags and their fertilizers. So that's also for me a fairly large risk. If you look at the scale is pretty reasonable. I mean, last year they did about 125 crore top line with a 10 crore PAT, which is pretty healthy. Q1, I'm not looking at Q1 numbers too much because it clearly looks like there is a bit of an unusual spike there. But the management has told that in one of the interviews that they expect to do 140, 150 crore, which is say 15-20% growth this year, maybe another 20-25% growth next year. They want to kind of touch 200 crore in FY26. I thought the promoters and the team that sort of appeared in these interviews seemed decent. I mean, at least they're thinking quite, or thinking how they can expand beyond, say, just simply doing HTP bags to other things. But to me, what they're expanding to are so different from each other that it's not straightforward for a single promoter team to look at three sort of very different businesses, very different, I'd say, dynamics. The company is coming at 14 multiple, which seems all right. Bulk Corp was a HTP and jumbo bags player that came at like a 20p, still at around that. I mean, it's much lower than what it listed at, but it still trades at 15-20p. Not very exciting business. The fertilizer segment, though, has never traded at premium multiples, always trades at this 15-20p because it's so cyclical. Margins are super cyclical here. Overall, this whole segment is so competitive and you can't really say anyone has differentiation. Someone is situated next to a fertilizer factory is not really, in my view, a differentiation. So yeah, I find this business a very, like, if anything, there will be some excitement during listing. Very, very low share price and just coming at a 14 rupee share price. There can be some excitement around listing because it doesn't clash with anything else. It can, list okay. I have a feeling it will get forgotten after that for a long time. And then if the business, like say, for example, the biomass business actually picks up, some of these other capex, most of which is going to come in only after 6 to 12 months or 6 to 10 months. If some of that happens and they're able to scale their numbers and the numbers start showing up, then maybe there can be some reignition of interest here. Anchors are also extremely normal. All of them will be jumping over each other to exit on the 30th and the 90th day. So I don't find anything very exciting about this business in the medium term. It can be okay in the long term if someone wants to track this business. And the short term, one can apply purely for a flip, with the view that the day the circuits break or on listing you get out. That's my view at least.
Got it. I also had a similar view. I like the point which you mentioned that it's a 14 rupee share price and each lot has like 10,000 shares. I haven't seen anything come that low, at least in the last year or so, since I've been following. Anything that comes to our mind where the lot size is like a lot has so many shares, and maybe does that play psychologically that each share is just like $20, so you're getting like 2,000, like 10,000 shares or something like that. Does that impact, or you think that doesn't?
I don't see personally. I don't like. We had a similar. I mean, there's not a like to like, but Sagility, which listed recently, had a 30 rupee share price. And I remember people saying that 30 rupees people will come to buy thinking it's such a small share, and actually didn't do anything for 3 weeks. It was trading in the negative. And then the results came, and then it finally, people saw that, okay, this is what the business, it has, potential good numbers. And that was the trigger that turned it around. But as such, listing there was absolutely nothing. It listed hardly flat and then it actually fell below listing price also. So I don't think, I mean, if it happens, people might attribute it to this, but I don't think so. It's just, there's no other IPO going to have some short-term fancy. Beeline, maybe people will think it won't be a bad company, but I've seen enough Beeline issues that list poorly and also fall post-listing and don't even touch IPO price for like many months. So this is not a very large issue also. After anchors is like 30 crore. So it's not going to be impossible to manage. So I feel it is simply safer applying and getting out. Personally, it's not a very exciting sector, not a hot sector. At least not the core businesses they're in right now. The biofuels, let's see, but the other stuff is not. So for me, it is like I would not be buying this on listing, and I would get out. If I get an allotment, I'll get out.
So I'll
Got
add
it.
one thing.
Yes,
Sir, I'll add one thing.
Yeah.
इसका face value 2 है, I guess. Face value is 2 rupees, I guess. मतलब इन्होंने knowingly 70 rupees का stock price 14 rupees किया है. I have seen actually. And the second thing was, this business actually operates at that 13-15% OPM kind of a mark. And suddenly the margins have jumped to 22% kind of in H1 to just show कि हम 16 करोड़ करके हम 10-12 के P पे आ रहे हैं. So, I personally will give it an avoid कि मतलब knowingly they have done few things to just show their company and stock price lucrative by fooling the investors. And yes, Beeline is surely degrading its own quality.
Got it. Apply if you can is what I say. Just get out while you still can. Don't be holding the parcel when the music stops. With that, we'll move forward and talk about the third company. We'll be talking about IndoFarm Equipment, which is a main board IPO, which is coming in this week. Just highlighting details of the company. The company is Badi, Himachal Pradesh based and operates two brands, IndoFarm and IndoPower, and engaged in manufacturing tractors, pick and carry cranes, and other harvesting equipments. Interesting fact about the company is that they just have acquired industrial land to 4x the capacity of pick and carry cranes manufacturing. Just setting up the IPO, the company is bringing in IPO of 260 crores, out of which 185 crores is a fresh issue and 75 crores promoters are taking an exit, i.e. जो promoters है वो 75 करोड़ का OFS कर रहे हैं, वो उनके पास डायरेक्ट चला जाएगा और 185 करोड़ की कंपनी के अकाउंट में जाएगा, जिससे बेसिकली ग्रोथ होगी कंपनी की. The market cap which company is coming at is 1033 crores, i.e. approximately 1030 crores के market cap पे कंपनी आ रही है, 260 करोड़ रेस कर रही है, तो around 25%, 26% कंपनी रेस कर रही है, dilute कर रही है अपना. In terms of the FY24 financials, the company did a revenue of 376 crores and a PAT of 15 crores. So at least at PE level, very richly valued company. 15 crores ka PAT over the last 3 years has remained somewhere around that range, and market cap is 1000 crores. So like 70-75 PE, something like that. In terms of the LM is RM in financials. So with that, maybe Tanmay, do you want to go ahead and talk about IndoFarm?
Is my voice clear?
Yes.
So IndoFarm Equipment Limited is a fully integrated manufacturer of tractors and pick and carry cranes. See, when I use the word integrated, what does this mean? This means that the company has all the back end of the manufacturing in-house. So this company has its own foundry division, which is the casting line. It has its own cylinder block machining center. It has its own gear shops, an assembly line for crane too, a sheet metal shop, and pre-delivery inspection. So this company is not of that kind which buys the backend things or manufacturing from some other OEM and then assembles and makes tractors and pick and carry. So this company has its in-house manufacturing facility, which makes it a better player in the industry. So this company manufactures tractors from 16 HP to 110 HP, which is roughly 88% of the Indian tractor market, in which these are actually the ranges 16 HP to 110 HP. There are different market sizes. So this whole 16 to 110 covers 88 kind of percentage of a tractor market in India. And in pick and carry cranes, this company manufactures from 9 tons to 30 tons, which is also, I guess, a decent. I don't have that exact number for cranes, but this is also a decent market size. So this company is raising 260 crores, out of which 185 crores is a fresh issue and 75 crore will be OFS. In fresh issue, the company is raising 71.1 crores for capex in their new facility, which will increase its manufacturing capacity of cranes. This second is repayment of debt, which is approx 50 crores. They are investing 45 crores in their NBFC subsidiary, captive NBFC subsidiary, Baroda Finance. Why NBFC is important, that I'll explain at a later point. and the rest 19 crore is for general corporate purposes, GCP. The company currently has a capacity of 1,280 cranes, and post the expansion, after that expansion, the capacity will be 4,818. मतलब basically नए facility में 3,600 cranes का per annum production होगा. Post the facility is operational. The management has clearly said that new facility, it is in Baddi, Himachal Pradesh, and they have already acquired a land of 100 acres, and that work has already started, and it is set to commence in October of 2025. Okay. And this company has 245 crores in totality. Out of that, they are repaying 50 crores. मतलब a post repayment also I won't say reasonable, but a good chunk of debt will be still there on the books. I'll come on its financials. In FY23, company did a revenue of 371 crores and the PAT was 15.4 crores. In FY24, the revenue grew by 1% to 375 crores and PAT grew by roughly 1.5% from 15.4 to 15.6 crores. And the Q1 is 75 crores revenue and 2.45 crores PAT. Now, one will say, yaar, ye sab kya chal raha hai? No growth. They are demanding for 1,030 crores market cap, 67 P. So, first of all, this business has a seasonality in it. Q1 is weaker. Q2 is extremely weaker. Q3 picks up and Q4 is the best. Okay, but I'm not saying still, in this current year, the growth will be there. I'll tell ki, what is actually, why is this company demanding this kind of a market cap? As of now, this company has first, this company was started as a tractor company. Okay. And tractor mein, there is a heavy dependence on retail financing for the tractor owner or the buyer. But as the company had some fund crunch in their NBFC, captive NBFC. I'm using the word captive. उसका एक reason है. What captive means is कि you are making a NBFC for your personal use. मतलब this company is making NBFC for the sale of the tractors of their own brand and of their own company. It will not cater to a different tractor or any XYZ company to finance. So I'm using that word captive. That's very important. So that company didn't have enough funds. So they could not finance as per expectations, and they had to change their company's fundamentals from a tractor manufacturing company to a crane manufacturing company. If you just see the revenue split, earlier it was 20-80 was tractor, then it went to 60-40, then it went to 50-50, and the management has said clearly on the interview that FY25 will be 60-40, 60 will be cranes and 40 will be tractor. And this also translates into the sales. Earlier, this company used to sell 4,000 tractors per annum. Then that number came to roughly 33,000. Then that number came to 2,700. And as per the Vahan data, in first 9 months, they have just sold 1,900. If I consider that 35% of the year's revenue or 40% will be Q4, then this company can roughly sell 2,600, which is very in line, nothing kind of a growth. But the cranes sales are expected to pick up. The company is expecting, they have said it in an interview, everything is recorded on YouTube, that we will sell roughly 1,200 cranes in current financial year FY25. Okay. And post this facility gets commenced, the company is expecting, I won't say expecting, but it's just a rough projection that company will sell 2,000 to 2,500 cranes. Okay. This company is actually a 2-year forward kind of a story. At current valuations, it is not justifiable. But I'm just trying to break the numbers on what management has commented. In first 9 months, the company has delivered 1,950 tractors and it's a Q4 average, मतलब साल में करीब 2,650 बेच देंगे. And cranes, they are saying we will sell approx 1,200. And management has also given number what is the average selling price, cost price of that, selling price of that crane. So it is 18 lakh rupees per crane. If I just break these numbers, what they are saying is we will be doing roughly 220 to 230 crores of cranes and roughly 200 crores of tractors. मतलब पूरे साल का roughly 430 crores का बोल रहे, which is roughly a 20 to 25% growth. और उस पर पैट it has 150 basis points more margins the crane business has than the tractor. So उसके ऊपर एक पैट नंबर ट्रांसलेट होता है 25 से 27 करोड़ काइंड ऑफ 25-27 करोड़. आई वॉज थिंकिंग यार 30 करोड़ शायद हो जाए, बट 30 वो नहीं हो रहा है एज पर माई पर्सनल मैथ्स. सो वो 25-27 करोड़ हो रहा है. And if I just break the numbers for FY26, the numbers are coming like 2,400 kind of a cranes into 18 lakh number plus an expected 20% jump due to the 45 crores fund infusion in their NBFC subsidiary Baroda Finance. So उसके हिसाब से revenue करीब 600 to 650 crores के अराउंड आना चाहिए. पैट शुड बी रफली काइंड ऑफ 45-50 करोड़ ऑफ अ पैट. थोड़ा ज्यादा भी हो सकता है, डिपेंड्स कि इनका ऑपरेशन लेवरेज कितना है, तो 50 से 55 हो सकता है, बट आई पर्सनली डोंट फील कि 55 जाएगा. नाउ द मेन थिंग इज कि यार ये क्रेन बेचना इतना आसान है क्या? आई जस्ट गिव यू सम नंबर्स. इन 2023 in India, approx 11,500 to 12,000 cranes were sold. In 2024, the cranes were sold 14,500. Okay. In 2025, it is expected कि 17,500 बेचे जाएंगे. 2026, it is expected 19,500. And चलो 26 तक ही जाते हैं. 27 could be a bit stretch. So 26 में the whole market, चल beat superlative, take it a superlative number कि 20,000 crane बिकेंगे. So this company is saying कि out of nowhere, in that 5-10% market share, we will go and grab that good market share of 15-20% roughly in FY26, which is 2,500 number should be roughly 25% market share. 15% kind of a market share. The peers, its peers are Escorts, Kubota. Its peers is Ace Construction, Action Construction Equipment. And the third one is an MNC. I'm not able to recall the name. That is also very large, $8,000 billion revenue doing MNC. So it's tough to get market share in front of these kind of players, which are extremely dominant and solid kind of players. Now, what USP this company has? Two, three things. First, backward integration, which I have seen in most of the, even Mahindra and Mahindra is not that backward integrated in which IndoFarm is placed. But M&M is a too large company, so even if it's not backward integrated, it is surely going to get those parts at even expectedly a lesser cost than what in which IndoFarm makes. So if I just break down the numbers based on the valuation, FY24 IndoFarm is coming at 66 times. FY25 and that roughly 25-27 crore, it is coming at roughly 38 times. And FY26 based on the estimates, it is coming at 20-22 times. 20 से 22 का P आ रहा है. Okay. But now just come on its peers. Escorts is trading at 28 times FY25. Okay. And 23-24 times FY26. It's we have to get a reasonable growth doing company. Now we'll come to its better peer, which is Action Construction, because end of the day, IndoFarm is aiming for a crane kind of a play and not a tractor play. So Ace is trading at 38 times FY25 and roughly 27 times FY26. On paper, IndoFarm is coming at roughly 15% discount to Escorts Kubota and roughly 30 to 35, not even 35, 30% discount Ace. Now my first question is, why should I give this company a premium over this company? The answer is no, you cannot give premium because Ace and Escorts are next level guys. Now this whole company is not even FY26 play. This whole company is an FY27 play. कि यार ये 4,000 क्रेन बेचेंगे, 3,500 करीब ट्रैक्टर बेचेंगे, 1,000 करोड़ रेवेन्यू करेंगे, 80-90 करोड़ पैट करेंगे, उसके ऊपर 12 का पी आ रहा है. So this is the whole play in which this company is trying to make a mark. One more thing is कि they did a pre-IPO. It was roughly 4 months back at 185 rupees. And now I guess the share price is 215. Now one will say कि 4 महीने में 15-20% ये क्यों price बढ़ गया है? It was similarly asked to the management. The management said कि we increased our crane sales from XYZ number to XYZ number, showing a impressive 30% growth. But it didn't say कि our tractor division degrown by 20%. So overall level पे the company did 1% growth in FY24 and in FY25 so the numbers are very tepid as of now I'm saying. So this 15% appreciation is actually not justifiable at any pointer. But if the company is able to deliver, this can be a wealth creator. मतलब this whole company's story is based on गुड हाइपोथेसिस कि इफ ये अगर ये हो जाएगा तो ये हो जाएगा, अगर वो नहीं होगा तो ये नहीं होगा और स्टोरी फेल हो जाएगी. सो आई पर्सनली फील कि इसमें दो चीजें हैं. एक तो आपको इस कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट करना है तो आपका व्यू 2027 का होना चाहिए 3 साल, या फिर आपका व्यू होना चाहिए लिस्टिंग गेन लेकर बाहर. बट आई पर्सनली डोंट फील इसमें बहुत ज्यादा लिस्टिंग बढ़ेंगे. बट आई एम एक्सपेक्टिंग कि एंकर बुक शुड बी गुड. एंकर बुक्स में कुछ अच्छे नाम आ सकते हैं. So we can see some small to medium listing gains, 15, 20, 25% kind of. But actually, this company is not at all a bad company. To speak avoid on this could be a harsh word. The company is not at all bad, but the timing of its IPO might not sound good for retail investors. But it's, but we can say the company had no better choice because they wanted funds at any cost for doing their capex. So this is a clear cut, a long term kind of a play. And रिस्क टेकर्स, और आई वोंट से रिस्क टेकर्स, शायद आई फील इस पर थोड़ा पैसा बन जाएगा ऑन लिस्टिंग डे, बट आई एम नॉट इन दैट कैटेगरी की इसको होल्ड करे. हाँ, इफ योर व्यूज 3 years, गो अहेड एंड होल्ड इट. सो दैट्स ऑल नॉट अ बैड कंपनी, बट नॉट सुपरलेटिव बिजनेस में कूद के इसमें शेयर्स ले लूं और इसको पड़ा रहने दूं कि दुगना. नहीं, दैट इज नॉट द केस. सो वेरी हाई रिस्क टेकर्स शुड see for long term. I feel कि we should skip the company as of now until I feel कि Q4 का नंबर अच्छा आएगा. But you know कि this practice companies and even its peers did very very bad in Q2. There were some downgrades. The estimates got lowered. So I am personally expecting इसका Q2 का नंबर बहुत बुरा आएगा. So that fall, that simple fall should be your entry point for long term if you are interested to invest in long term. So for me, normal players should avoid this. And जो जिनको बिना आईपीओ लगाए, मतलब उनका मूड, मतलब उनको लगा है ना ये आईपीओ, तो उन्होंने 15-20%, दैट इज व्हाट आई एम पर्सनली थिंकिंग ये हो सकते हैं. सो वो लिस्टिंग गेन्स के लिए आपने अप्लाई करना चाहिए. बट ओवरऑल अ न्यूट्रल सा कंपनी है. नॉट बैड, नॉट गुड, न्यूट्रल सा कंपनी है. दैट्स ऑल.
थैंक्स सर, मैं वही कॉम्प्रिहेंसिवली कवर्ड. एक तो क्वेश्चन है मेरे, maybe this is something which might be slightly naive, but tell me something. अगर एनबीएफसी का इनका जो कैप्टिव एनबीएफसी है उसमें फंड नहीं था, so some other एनबीएफसी can finance the tractors, right? So अगर ट्रैक्टर सेल कम हो रही है तो वो तो इसीलिए हो रही होगी ना क्योंकि ट्रैक्टर कॉम्पिटिटिव नहीं है, या तो प्राइसिंग में या तो फीचर में या किसी और रीजन से, राइट? हाउ कैन एनबीएफसी?
I know the reason. So this company has recently, I guess 1 or 2 months back, has tied up with 2 private leading banks which are going to finance their tractors. But a main question arises कि आईपीओ से पहले क्या कर रहे थे प्रमोटर्स? मतलब वही है ना यार, आईपीओ बाउंड कंपनी सब कुछ आईपीओ के बाद ही होता है, आईपीओ के पहले कुछ नहीं होता है. या फिर अचानक से जाग आ जाती प्रमोटर्स को कि यार अपने को आईपीओ करना, 2 महीने बाद टाइप तो करना पड़ेगा. बट इट्स वेरी नेव फ्रॉम माई पार्ट टू स्पीक बिकॉज कॉर्पोरेट्स डोंट वर्क दैट वे. सो देयर माइट बी फ्यू रीजंस. बट व्हाट आई कुड अंडरस्टैंड सो फ्रॉम द रिव्यूज की ट्रैक्टर्स वेयर इनके अच्छे हैं, मतलब रिव्यूज अच्छे हैं और क्रेन्स भी अच्छी है. बट वही है ना कि यार कॉम्पिटिशन इतना बड़ा है एंड यू आर सच अ स्मॉल प्लेयर. तो लेट्स से दे हैव टाइड अप, उनको कैप्टिव एनबीएफसी में 45 करोड़ जा रहा है. आई एम नॉट श्योर कि 45 करोड़ कितना लॉन्ग लास्ट करेगा. बट वही बात है ना कि इनका 2022 तक ग्रोथ आ रहा था, वही सेम एनबीएफसी, वही सेम फंड्स के साथ कैश फ्लोज भी आ रहे थे. तो ऐसा क्या हो गया अचानक लास्ट 2-3 साल में कि ग्रोथ ही नहीं आ रही है, एनबीएफसी में पैसा कम पड़ रहा है. सो थोड़ा सा है मतलब चीजें, बट आई फील फ्यूचर में कर सकते हैं ये, मतलब लेट्स होप.
Got it. Second thing, which I think you did probably touch on, but it won't be easy to get the market share that they are projecting, right, in cranes. Because cranes also is a very competitive market from my understanding, right? So it's not like कि wide open space है और वो आके cover करना है. So my second part to the question is, when you are valuing this company, wouldn't you want to like discount a lot of ifs and buts? कि if and but है तो उसको discount करो, उसको कम करो. So why should this company get even like 20-30% discount to its peer? Would that not be fair per se?
सर इसमें 2 चीजें हैं. पहला तो यार मतलब ये है कि ifs and buts are many in this company. अगर if you're valuing this company on FY25, this company is coming at roughly 25% premium to Escorts and exact 38 times ACE and IndoFarm. ACE is trading at 38 times, this is coming at 38 times. So no, I feel ki, or see, this one thing on the crane part, uh, a crane of at a blended level, if I consider all that tons and that, I'm not a technical person, but what I could figure out of reading ki a crane yaar matlab 18,50,000 FY 25-26 plus the distributor would take its margin, तो ये नेट में सारा सारा पकड़ के 23-24 लाख में, 23 लाख पकड़ लो, 24 ज्यादा हो जाएगा, तो 23 लाख की चीज आप बेचोगे, न्यू प्लेयर एंटरिंग एंड गेटिंग द मार्केट शेयर। FY 27 का यार लोग बोल रहे कि यार नई फैसिलिटी पूरा यूटिलाइज कर लेगी, मतलब व्हाट दे आर प्रोजेक्टिंग इज दिस कंपनी विल हैव 25% मार्केट शेयर इन इंडिया इन FY 27 पोस्ट द एक्सपांशन। मतलब यार वो समोसे की तरह क्रेन बेच रहा है। सो मतलब वही चीज है, द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम इन दिस कंपनी, आई वोंट से प्रॉब्लम बट फियर फॉर इन्वेस्टर्स इसकी एग्जीक्यूशन कब होगा। एंड यस, आई डेफिनेटली एग्री दैट this company should get at least 20-25% discount to escorts and like roughly 30-35% discount to ACE. But if I consider that, this IPO should list at 20% discount. So without going in that direction, let's hope कि the plans are met and investors get a pie of the company's growth.
Got it. With that, maybe we have covered IndoFarm. Rohit, do you have anything to add? Yes,
Tanmay,
Rohit.
just one or two questions I have. एक तो you talked about जो उनका land इन्होंने नया लिया है for the new capex, वो एक बार और बता दोगे क्या, मतलब कितना land है इनके पास?
100 एकड़ से हिमाचल प्रदेश बद्दी में।
ओके, तो उसका अप्रोक्सीमेट क्या कॉस्टिंग वगैरह होगा? मतलब आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग टू फिगरिंग आउट कि अगर मेरे को अभी पूरा कंपनी का रिप्लेसमेंट कॉस्ट क्या है?
द कंपनी रिप्लेसमेंट कॉस्ट इज क्या, रफली पकड़ के चलो इनका 400 करोड़ 500 करोड़ में, मतलब कंपनी का रिप्लेसमेंट कॉस्ट है 1000 करोड़ जितना ही है। आई गेस 700 काइंड ऑफ का नंबर बैठेगा, 700-800। बट द थिंग इज यार, एक एज अ इन्वेस्ट कंपनी बहुत अच्छा है, मैं कंपनी बुरा कभी नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, बट यार इसमें इन्वेस्टर शेयर होल्डर के लिए क्या वैल्यू रहेगा, दैट इज द मेन इशू। इफ आई एम गोइंग ऑन द लैंड, यार लैंड तो ऑफकोर्स 100 एकर्स इज अ बिग थिंग। हिमाचल प्रदेश में शायद इतनी जमीन, आई एम नॉट नोन फॉर दोज प्राइजेस कि कितने का लैंड होगा, बट इस कंपनी का रिप्लेसमेंट कॉस्ट श्योरली बहुत अच्छा है।
ओके, अंडरस्टूड।
Yes, and Rohit, do you guys have anything else to add?
Nothing from my side, man. I haven't studied this company.
But what do you feel like from what you heard? I'll give you my feel. I just feel that if it's a FY 27 story, I'll look at it in FY 26. I don't need to look at it right now. Maybe I will look at it for listing ins and then forget about it. But yeah, what do you think?
See, sometimes these capex plays, in the future, it's very hard to say what will happen. But if there is a lot of capex, if there are, say, high quality investors coming in, the market can be very irrational with respect to how they value future capex. This KRN heat exchangers was an example. I mean, of course, it came along with some of the other stories. It's a proxy to EMS and data center and all of that. But people saw 7x capex and immediately started discounting, whether they will actually deliver on that. They'll set up the capex, whether they'll actually 7x their sales. That's TBD, right? But look at the sort of multiples that company is getting. So capex, when someone says I'm going to 4x, 5x capex, automatically I feel there is a certain interest that comes. At least today it is. Whether it's the right thing or not is questionable. So uske wajah se I feel this company will sort of get a premium. At least that's my read. Beyond that, I have to honestly study the company too, because Tanmay has done a much deeper research on whether such demand exists, how easy it is for a company to actually capture that demand. So on that front, I'm just going by what Tanmay is saying. It's not straightforward, but yeah, I'm just giving a more general view that these kind of capex, high capex kind of plays get an irrational sort of exuberance in the market.
Valid point. With that, we have covered IndoFarm. Tanmay, do you have any closing comments, or we can move forward and quickly talk
I'll,
about this
I'll
other
add
thing?
a few points. See, the promoter quality is actually good. खंडवालिया family है, इनका second generation भी business में आ चुका है. Both their those guys were looking good. Out, I guess one is handling the export operations. And yes, इनका थोड़ा export level भी थोड़ा गिमिक है कि हम 20 देशों में export करते हैं, but इनका total revenue roughly 20 crore है. तो that is also thing, but they are doing the exports. The promoter quality is quite good. The replacement cost is good. Plans are good, but yes, I'm just doubting will this company be just a listing gain and short-term play rather than or a good medium-term to long-term play. So I'm questioning on that part, but I feel कि इसमें listing gain तो थोड़ा सा बन ही जाएगा. मतलब I'm expecting कि anchor book should be quite good.
Tanmay, what I have heard is company is coming at a 18-20 times FY26 valuation.
हाँ तो यार मतलब देखो 1826 को होता है मतलब they are saying कि we will do roughly 50 crores PAT. Now for doing 50 crores they have to do a revenue of 700 crores. मतलब see I'm just thinking on a practical view कि यार अक्टूबर में इनका capex खुलेगा. Okay. In 4 months out of nowhere they'll sell it. See आपको अगर उतना 720 crores kind of a revenue करना है for that 55 crores 60 crores PAT, तो इसका इंडिकेशन बहुत सिंपल है कि आपको साल में 3,000 क्रेन बेचना पड़ेगा और 25,000 ट्रैक्टर नहीं 30,000 ट्रैक्टर बेचना पड़ेगा. नाउ दिस कंपनी is having currently a capacity of 1,260 जो आई गेस 1220 के बियॉन्ड नहीं जा पाएंगे. 40 तो आपको पता है वो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का चीज होता है. 100% यूटिलाइजेशन इज क्वाइट नॉट पॉसिबल. मतलब आप अक्टूबर में नवंबर में खोलोगे फैसिलिटी और अचानक से आपका सिर्फ 1,200 का 3,000 हो जाएगा सिर्फ 4 महीने में. वो दैट इज अ बिट अनडाइजेस्टेबल थिंग. मतलब आई एम नॉट सेइंग दे कैन नॉट डू, बट यार थिंक ऑन माय पार्ट. आई एम अ कंजर्वेटिव इन्वेस्टर हु इज पिचिंग दिस कंपनी इन फ्रंट ऑफ 900 पीपल. तो जस्ट थिंक ना कि मेरा एक दिमाग में एक रैशनैलिटी या फिर कॉमन सेंस नाम का चीज है कि 1,200 से 3,000 4 महीने में कैसे हो सकता है. सो ड्यू टू दैट आई हैव कंसीडर्ड दोस नंबर्स. अदरवाइज if the 700 crore 720 crore 740 crore revenue play है 55 crore PAT है तो उसके हिसाब से 20 times multiple is not I won't say not bad, but just think of its peers. Escorts 23-24 times 26 पे चल रहा है तो 20% भी स्कोप नहीं है यार. 20% आप एस्कॉर्ट से कंपेयर कर रहे हो जो इतना बड़ा ह्यूज साइज का रेप्यूटेड ब्रांडेड नेम है. सो दैट इज ओनली द थिंग कि यार टेबल पे इन्वेस्टर का लिस्टिंग गेन छोटू सा लिस्टिंग गेन के बियॉन्ड क्या है. तो दैट इज द मेन क्वेश्चन.
Correct.
Got it. I also have a similar view. Like I had seen this company, and I was like at least when I saw it for the first time, I felt a way like this is insanely highly priced. Then heard the story, realized that it's a back-ended play. Like a lot of things will have to work right for the company to be able to deliver the growth on which it is projecting. But I understand a lot of good names are coming in, and it's a capex story, so it might fly basis that. So with that, we'll kind of move on to the next company, which is Technichem Organics. Just setting up the company, it is engaged in business of manufacturing various range of specialty chemicals, pigments, dyes, intermediates, and air oxidation chemistry, ether, etc. Talking about the IPO, company is bringing in a IPO of 25 crores. 25 crore का IPO आ रहा है, all of which is a fresh issue. Market cap is very small, 95 crores. So the company is like diluting like 28% right now. In terms of the FY24 financials, they did 47 crores of revenue and a 4.7 crore of PAT. So company is roughly coming at like 20p at a very high level. In terms of the LM is Shreni shares. So with that, Rohit, do you want to go ahead and talk about Technichem?
Sure, I'll try to keep this efficient. So it's a pretty small company. It's a 25 crore fully fresh issue. So they are a specialty chemicals manufacturer. They make a few different kinds of chemicals. They make something called pyrazoles and pyrazolons, which my understanding is goes largely into the pharma segment. They make some specialty chemicals. They make some pigment and dye intermediaries as well. And they do something called air oxidation chemistry, which is primarily to make benzoic acid. And these products go, again, across different, like I said, pharma, some goes to agri, some go into coatings, pigments, food. So it's actually fairly diverse what they manufacture and where it goes into. So it's a little difficult to pigeonhole this company into okay, they focus on pharma. Like say one of the peers they've listed is Anya Organics, which is almost 100% pharma, or say Fine Organics, which again has a certain focus. So a lot of these chemical companies generally tend to focus, at least the smaller ones tend to focus on some segment, whereas this guy at a, very small scale itself has like 30% revenue from each of these segments. They have about 950 MTPA capacity across 3 plants. Each of these operate at different capacities, but broadly in the 60 to 75% capacity range. And there's funds that they're raising. A chunk of the funds is to set up another plant with another 450 MTPA capacity. But it's difficult to ascertain the revenue potential. I'll kind of explain what and why shortly. If you see their numbers, it's been declining. It's a common story across most chemical stocks over the last 3 years. Everyone had a spike in 21, 22. And this very well-known story post-COVID, there was a sudden surge because, obviously chemicals were very, very important for a short period of time. And then China started overproducing, and then that led to a huge competition and drop in margins and so on. So their revenue has gone from 69 crore 3 years ago to 49 crore last year, but their margins have improved. Again, I'll kind of come to this when I just talk about what I like about this business. So there are 2 broad factors here. One is the balance sheet. So despite the revenue dip, the balance sheet is actually pretty good. So there is a slight spike in receivables, which is okay. It's nothing too much. I'm ignoring Q1, but if you just look at last year, there's a slight spike in receivables. But outside of that, they've actually done a lot of things internally in the business to de-risk themselves, or I'd say as a counter to what has happened, for the to the chemical sector overall. They've actually done a lot of capex over the last 3-4 years. There's almost a 20 crore increase in their PPE from 2020 till 2024. And the idea behind this was to start manufacturing new higher margin chemicals. So one of these was this benzoic acid, which I mentioned earlier. The idea is that the core sort of chemicals that many people were manufacturing and people were trading, that became very uncompetitive. Margins became very thin. Revenue started getting hit because of the sheer amount of competition and oversupply. And so the smart, I would say, chemical players started trying to pick far more niche chemicals. And that is what these guys have also done. So they started focusing on the existing high margin chemicals and new high margin chemicals, due to which they had to sort of take some debt, increase their capex. And in fact, some of the IPO funds will be used to pay off that, capex debt that they had taken. So 10 crore will be used to pay that off, improving bottom line by about 1 crore a year. The second thing that is good is or at least interesting, I found, is that majority of their exports, so they do I think 60-40, their exports, majority of it goes to China, which is again effectively a chemicals hub, and being able to sell their products to China again suggests fairly good quality products at fairly competitive prices. Now, if you look at their overall business, it's hard to tell what percentage from each chemical, what goes to each which chemical goes to which sector. You can't sort of pencil this into a particular kind of play, whether it's a dye play, pigment play, specialty chemical play, a pharma play. You can't even tell which is a high margin chemical, which is a low margin chemical. Maybe someone really understands the sector well, they'll be able to distinguish between which is which. At least I am not able to, due to which it's very hard to overall say what this company can look like 1 year or 2 years from now, outside of an overall vision statement that they want to focus on high margin chemicals and not these sort of high volume, low margin play, which is how they've explained this decline in revenue, that they've reduced this. For example, they gave one example of ADMT or something, which is again, one of those bulk kind of chemicals. They've stopped or almost, reduced that to zero, and replaced it with something like this benzoic acid. So which is the explanation for why, despite revenue declining, their margins, their gross margins, EBITDA and PAT, all 3 have actually improved last year. And that is a trend that they say will continue. If you look at the business from a, eye test standpoint, their manufacturing setup looks decent. Their R&D setup looks decent. But I would say it's nowhere close to, like, if you just look at Amy Organics R&D setup and you compare that with the R&D setup here, obviously it's like a sea difference. So it's not like this is bringing you extra high quality business at an SME. It's good for an SME. This company is coming in at 20 times multiple, I think 16, 17 times if you look at the current financial year. Now my challenge here is chemicals. My view is the SME investor does not understand the chemical sector. We've had 2 recent SME listings in the chemical space. One was this Unilex, which was a hemp securities one. One was Indian Phosphate. Indian Phosphate came with huge hype, listed at double. Some big investors also entered. This company trades at less than half of what it initially listed at. Unilex also is, less than what it listed at. this segment is very hard to understand for an average investor who looks at things like capex and growth and forward projections and forward multiples and stuff. To understand whether benzoic acid is going to be a good business, you need to understand the raw material price of benzene. I don't think a single person on this call understands what moves the needle there. So I feel that this kind of business will not get takers who really understand this business well. I don't think SME is the right place for I'd say a specialty chemical business to trade. Just looking at how all other chemical SMEs, if you see the main board peers, all of them will trade at 50, 60, 40, 70, crazy multiple. If you look at SMEs, all of them will trade at 15p. So I personally will stay away. The company otherwise looked decent only. It's a good chemicals business. Solid promoters also, from what I could understand based on their experience. They do have some interesting things they've done over the last 2 years to sustain and to sort of diversify, to think, I would say, to show that they're very forward thinking. But my sense is the market will not value it. So for that reason, I am also not an expert. It's not like I understand the price of benzene. So I will definitely not take this for the long term. At best, I will look at this for a listing gain. It's mostly because there's no competition. It's a small issue. It should get some listing gain because it's coming at like 16, 17p. But I will, again, this is another one where I will just be out. If I do get an hurt, I'll just be out on listing.
Got it. Thank you so much, Rohit, for covering this in detail. Kind of agree with everything that you said. In a SME, specialty chemicals play is slightly difficult. Well, again, people it's difficult to understand, right? So would probably also be skipping it, or if I'm applying, I'll apply it only for प्योर प्ले लिस्टिंग गेन्स एंड आई अंडरस्टैंड कि हमने जब ये स्पेस का डाला था नोट तो देयर वाज अ कमेंट व्हिच सेड दैट प्रोबेबली जस्ट अप्लाई टू एवरीथिंग वेयर there is any GMP and then get out on listing day. It seems like all of the issues that we are discussing today are of similar nature where you have to just get out on listing day if you are applying for those IPOs. But yeah, with that, let's move forward to one last IPO. Before that, just want to highlight, अगर आपने बीच में join किया है and you are listening to us for the first time and you have missed any of the IPOs, the link to our YouTube channel Sunday Investing is in the pinned comments. आप उसको चैनल को फॉलो कर सकते हैं और वहां पर मैं ये वीडियो ये स्पेस डाल दूंगा और उसके अलावा मैं हर आईपीओ की रिव्यू भी वहां पे डाल देता हूँ so you can listen to it on your own leisure. With that, moving forward and talking about one last company, which is Leo Dry Fruits and Spices. Again, should not take more than 2 to 5 minutes. But setting up the company, it manufactures and trades a variety of spices and dry fruits under its own brand name, Vandu, as well as Fried. And it also does a lot of grocery, ghee, seasonings, and other things. Setting up the IPO, it's a 25 crore IPO at a market cap of 93 crores. All of which 25 crores is a fresh issue. It's a book built IPO. So there will be anchors. In terms of the financials, the company did 62 crores of revenue in FY24 and a PAT of 6.6 crores. So at first instinct, I just felt that the PAT margin was a bit too high, 10% PAT margin for a trading business. But yeah, 6.6 crores and 93 crore market cap. So it's coming pretty decent, like 15p. In terms of the LM is Shreni shares. So with that, Yash, do you want to go ahead and talk about Leo Dry Fruits?
Sure, Manish. So Leo Dry Fruits and Spices is a company which is engaged in manufacturing, processing, trading, and marketing a wide range of spices, dry fruits, and other grocery products. The company was incorporated on November 2019, after which they signed up for this FSSAI approval, and post that now they are working. So company started in 2019 and FSSAI's license they got in 2022, and now they are coming with an IPO in 2024. One of the biggest red flag in this company is the shareholding pattern, which is pre-issue 52.2% with the promoters and post-issue 38.11% with the promoters being left. And the company is coming with 25 crores of fresh issue at a market cap of 93 crores. Mostly, other thing is key they are raising funds for working capital requirements, not any expansion, because mostly we similar business trading and very little of processing. जो मेन guy है इसका, which is Kaushik, holding 18% stake in the company, has almost 26 years of experience in the same field, but that 26 years of experience is coming from his own sole proprietorship company. Almost 46 employees है company में. B2B kind of business है इसका, wholesale distribution का. 23 से लेकर 24, मतलब 2023 से 2024, 94-95% is coming from B2B direct. और if I talk about जो उसके two business verticals हैं, एक है trading and manufacturing. Also the company is anchor distributor of Campa Cola soft drinks, जो काफी ज्यादा famous है. In terms of जो इनका revenue split है, वो FY 23-24 में था almost 77% of trading business and processing and manufacturing was 22%. And the majority of revenue is coming from the trading activities. What they're trying to do is they're trying to increase their manufacturing and processing capacities with the help of working capital requirements. The other thing which they are using 4 crores is branding and advertisement, जिसमें mall branding, airport branding, print media, social media. These all things they will do, and the rest of all will be general corporate purposes. Company ने 1.89 crores का almost half year में profit करा है. Last year was 6.6 crores. By looking at the working capital projections, the company is projecting almost 77 crores, 80 crores in FY26. So I think they are projecting 2x of the working capital cycle. तो trading business है. मोटा मोटी what they are coming at is almost 60-70% growth they are targeting. But the promoter's skin in the game is very less, according to me, and the price to earning is also fairly priced, given कि PE मिलता नहीं है business को ज़्यादा. तो I think I'm not talking मतलब keeping the GMP aside, I don't think this is a apply kind of business to me.
Got it. Thanks, Yash. When you told me about the whole promoter holding is like very low, 40%, especially when the market cap is also very small. Like the market cap is 100 crores and promoters already diluted like 60% of the company. So that also, I didn't look at anything in the company after that person, and I thought that I'll just apply it if I apply it for listing gains. I understand that a lot of these companies, although we are saying don't make sense or don't look great, might have crazy subscriptions simply because there's nothing else to apply for IPO holders this week. So you might still see that a lot of people are applying, but I feel it will be very difficult for a lot of them to get listed well, because whoever gets them would want to dump them on day one, and there might not be enough takers. So be careful on what you're applying. If it is crazy subscribe, if there's enough GMP, go for it. Just make sure you are not holding the parcel when the music stops. With that, we have kind of covered the last company as well, which is Leo Dry Fruits and Spices.
Manish, just one question on this. Sorry, I did see that their H1 revenue is extremely low compared to last year. Do you know why that is? Or Yash, do you have any idea why their H1 revenue is like, I mean, if they were to double it, they would, yeah.
Even their the profit is also compared to less what they did last year. So I didn't look much into it because वो overall ही sense आ रहा था कि ये क्या ही करेगी.
ठीक है, because the numbers normally like you see the opposite, right? IPO time पे everything is pumped.
Yes.
इसमें like the revenue is halved, like half का half हो गया.
And that to be 10% net profit margins.
Strange.
Yeah, didn't seem to add up, but yeah, it is what it is. With that, we have covered the 5 companies for today. We'll come back next week. Hopefully, there will be a few good issues. I understand there's one good main board which is coming, for which I am slightly excited. But yeah, other than that, also there should be good companies which should be coming in, which will make
There
our
are
job
two
a lot
main
more
boards actually.
एक मेरे को अच्छी लगी थी,
नहीं,
but
दोनों अच्छी है
नाम
सर.
नहीं बताऊंगा, इसलिए
आपको
आपको
दूसरा मैं
बताऊंगा. मुझे
बताता
एक ही अच्छी, मैंने एक पढ़ी है अभी.
हूँ. ओके.
Very बढ़िया. Uh, but yeah, with that, we have covered for today's IPO. I understand there are a lot of questions with respect to Ventive, Synoris, and Kararo, mostly with respect to Ventive. I will go ahead with share my read, and maybe then whoever wants to share their read. Uh, Again, we historically don't talk about companies once we have allotment or once the IPO period is closed. And my view hasn't changed one bit with respect to Venture. I really like the company. It's a Punchil play. Punchil plus BlackRock, very good promoters and excellent quality of financials. So I'm planning to hold it for some time, my allotment. So in the short term, I'm not looking at anything with respect to uh, like how it lists, where it lists, because I have already gotten a decent allotment. So I'm just planning to hold it. So my allocation's already done. With that, Tanmay, Rohit, and Yash, you guys have anything to add?
Negative list करवा दो यार. Some of us want to buy.
I had a question which, in fact, is something which I also wanted to cover, that there were a lot of screenshots floating with respect to Cyrus and Deepinder's allotment status on Ventive. Was it to create hype or something else? I just felt that it didn't like privacy wise wasn't the best decision. Like I don't know where they came from. And again, like I read a few comments as well which said that they didn't don't know कि कैसे apply करना होता है. They are reducing their own chances. It's just that when they applied probably on day one, they were not expecting the quota to get fully subscribed, right? Like, see what happened in Sci Life. Sci Life, Madhu Kela got like a good 13 crores worth of allotment by simply putting in a huge application. So someone was trying to replicate that maybe. Just putting that out and saying that, hey, they don't know how to apply or they just wasted so much capital. I just felt slightly like taking a shot which didn't exist. It's just that they like probably they tried something which didn't happen because the market realized that the company is good or whatever happened, but it's just that the IPO got fully subscribed when they were not hoping that it will get fully subscribed. In terms of how it came out, very surprising for me because ideally it shouldn't have like, I don't know what was the leak because it apparently was from the registrar side itself because वहां पे ना पूरी लिस्ट थी कि सबसे बड़ी एप्लीकेशन किसकी थी उसके बाद छोड़ उससे कम किसकी है उससे कम किसकी है like it was 1 to 20th number with 6 to 7 digits of their PAN as well visible. So I just left it there, didn't cover it, but yeah, I didn't like it just felt a breach of privacy, and I wouldn't have been happy if my screenshot was floating like that. But yeah, anything to add on that part for you too?
It seems it's becoming more and more common nowadays. The last 2 months, we've been seeing IPOs where, I mean, it's the first time obviously we're getting individual like a Deepinder Goyal, but at least these investors, the Madhukelas of the world or some of these QIBs and all, that list is starting to circulate quite freely. That these are the QIBs, these are some of the big investors, these are the banks still take their PAN numbers are in public domain, but many of these other, I'd say large institutional investors, some of these large personal, well-known investors, individual investors, sabka allotment start circulating very soon. It's not unique to Ventive. It's been happening for many, many, many
No, I
issues.
feel it is something which has started from Hyundai. Hyundai time से ना वो QIB की
हाँ,
list
last 2 months,
आने लग गई
correct.
कि ये QIB है ये है. So everyone just started picking up on that trend, and maybe they're just trying to use it in Ventive's case. I don't know.
I don't think
But
it's being used. That's what it seems to be a trend. Like Ventive is not the start of the trend. This has been going on, so there's nothing. There doesn't seem to be anything nefarious with it turning up for Ventive also. It's just another one.
no, I doubt it because again दूसरों में क्या होता है? Again, maybe because I have a lot of pans, like I know someone who has a lot of pans, so they check for it, right? And people have to come up with that list. Here it was readily available कि ये 1 से 20 तक sorted है कि भाई किसने सबसे बड़ी application लगाई है. Which was the slightly weird part for me.
नो
Like
सर,
कि
एक्चुअली
इतना
साई
sorted
लाइफ में भी
application
आया
कैसे
था
लोगे?
वो. साई लाइफ में भी 1 to 20 ने 1 से 30 तक था. But this trend has actually started very recently. पहले एक लिस्ट मिलता था, I won't say list, but एक नाम मिलते थे कि कितना लगा है, कितना allotment मिला. But this HNI category में top 20, this is a bit new thing. I guess second, third time ही हुआ है ये. So I feel कि it's a bit breach of privacy kind of a thing, which should ideally not happen.
Got it. Anyways, maybe I got deflected from the topic. Do you guys have any plan for winter listing? I understand, Rohit, you said you don't have allotment, so you wanted to list as low as possible. uh, I don't care. I am out of the race, so I don't care where it lists. It can list wherever. Tanmay, any view for you?
I have got allotment, not enough, but there are two different things. If I talk on my greed, I want it to open flat. But what I personally feel and what company deserves and what things are going, I feel it is set to open at 20% kind of a premium, which I will be very happy. I won't get that good entry point, but yes, I'll be very happy for the allottees. 20-25%, your company deserves this premium on listing day one.
It can get that by listing at 5-7% and hitting a 20% upper circuit also.
This is actually a good thought.
Yeah. Yash, any pointers on winter?
I'd like to add, नीचे खुलवाओ बस.
अच्छा, मुझे लगा ये बोल रहे हैं, I'd like to add a few points as well. तो बोला कि मेरे को ले लो. Yeah, let's see. Again, how it opens.
I'll do whatever Tanmay will say. 9:34 call to Tanmay.
अरे उसका कॉल बिजी आता है 9:30 से. Chalo, with that, maybe we'll end today's episode. It's been a long episode, again, at 1 hour 15 minutes. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We'll see you guys next year. Happy New Year in advance.
Thanks everyone. Happy New Year.
Thanks everyone. Happy New Year.